Captain Jake Morrison had seen many terrible things during his 15 years exploring the outer rim of space, but nothing prepared him for what he found in the abandoned research station floating in the void. The distress signal was weak and broken, coming from Sector 7 where no human ship should have been. His crew aboard the starship, Liberty, wanted to ignore it and continue their mission to deliver medical supplies to the colony worlds, but Jake could not leave someone in danger. The research station looked dead from the outside. Its hull was scarred with burn marks and several sections had been blown apart. Whatever happened here was violent. The docking bay doors hung open like a broken jaw, revealing only darkness inside. Lieutenant Amy Carter checked her scanner as they moved through the empty corridors. The air was breathable but cold. Their footsteps echoed in the silence, broken only by the hum of emergency power. They found the first bodies in the main lab. Human scientists, in white coats scattered across the floor. Their faces were twisted in terror as if they had seen something horrible before they died. Commander Lisa Brooks examined the computer terminals. Most of the data had been wiped, but she managed to recover some files. The research station belonged to a company called Genesis Corp. They were studying something called Project Blue Sky. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Genesis Corp was known for pushing the boundaries of science, often ignoring safety and ethics. If they were involved, this place was more dangerous than it looked. The team moved deeper into the station, following a trail of destruction. The walls were covered with strange symbols burned into the metal, as if something had tried to write messages in a language no human could understand. They found more bodies in the living quarters. Some had been torn apart by incredible force. Others looked like they had simply dropped dead from fear. The smell of death hung heavy in the recycled air. Sergeant Kelly Wright reported strange energy readings from the lower levels. Jake decided they needed to investigate despite the obvious danger. Something important was down there, and it might still be alive. The elevator shaft was damaged, so they had to climb down using emergency ladders. The darkness seemed to swallow their flashlight beams. Jake could hear his heart beating in his chest as they descended. Level by level, the station revealed its secrets. Genesis Corp had been experimenting with alien technology, trying to reverse engineer advanced weapons and energy systems. They had found something in the deep space and brought it back to study. The symbols on the walls became more frequent as they went deeper. Some looked like warnings. Others seemed to tell a story of capture and imprisonment. Jake began to understand that Genesis Corp had not just found alien technology, they had found an alien being. On Sublevel 5, they discovered the truth. The containment area was a maze of cells and laboratories designed to hold dangerous specimens. Most were empty, their doors standing open like mouths screaming in the dark. But from one cell at the end of the corridor came a faint blue glow. Jake approached slowly, his weapon ready. The cell was made of some kind of transparent metal stronger than anything humans had invented. Inside, he could see a figure curled up in the corner. It was a woman, but not human. Her skin had a pale blue tint that seemed to glow. With inner light, her hair was white as starlight and fell to her shoulders in waves. Her features were delicate and beautiful, but clearly alien, with large eyes that held depths of intelligence and pain. She was naked and shivering, her arms wrapped around herself for warmth and modesty. When she saw Jake, she pressed herself further into the corner, fear written across her face. Amy gasped behind him. This was no weapon or technology. Genesis Corp had captured a living, sentient being and kept her prisoner for experiments. The burn marks on her skin showed where they had attached monitoring devices and run their tests. The alien woman looked at Jake with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of stars, but also the terror of someone who had given up all hope. She had been tortured and studied like a laboratory animal. Her spirit was broken. Jake holstered his weapon and approached the cell controls. The lock was biometric. Requiring a scan from one of the dead scientists, he would have to find another way. Kelly found the manual override hidden behind a maintenance panel. The heavy door slid open with a hiss. The alien woman flinched at the sound, expecting more pain. Jake slowly entered the cell, keeping his hands visible. He pulled off his jacket and held it out to her. She stared at him for a long moment as if trying to understand why a human would show her kindness. When she finally reached for the jacket, their fingers touched. Jake felt a jolt of electricity run through him as if her very being was made of energy. She pulled the jacket around herself, her eyes never leaving his face. Lisa found the research files in a hidden database. The alien woman was called Subject Zero by the scientists they had found. Her ship crashed on a moon in the Vega system. She was the sole survivor of her crew. Her people were called the Ethereal, and they possessed technology beyond human understanding. They could manipulate energy with their minds, travel faster than light without ships, and communicate across vast distances. Genesis Corp wanted to weaponize these abilities. For 3 years, they had kept her prisoner, running endless tests, trying to unlock the secrets of her powers. They had killed her crewmates during the initial capture, and she was alone in a universe that suddenly seemed hostile and cruel. The worst part was what they had planned next. The files showed they intended to dissect her brain to understand how her telepathic abilities worked. They believed they could create super soldiers by transplanting her neural tissue into human subjects. Jake felt sick reading the reports. No wonder she had given up hope. These people had treated her like an object to be studied rather than a being. With thoughts and feelings, they had broken something beautiful and turned it into their own nightmare. As they prepared to leave the station, the alien woman finally spoke. Her voice was musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, but the words were in her own language. Jake could not understand them, but he felt their meaning. She was asking why he was helping her. Jake looked into her star-bright eyes and spoke slowly, hoping she might understand some basic concepts. He told her his name and pointed to himself. Then he pointed to her and raised his eyebrows in question. She seemed to understand. She placed her hand over her heart and spoke a single word that sounded like music. Zara. Amy had found the alien woman clothing in a storage locker, standard issue prisoner garments that the scientists had forced her to wear during some experiments. But Zara refused to put them on, preferring to stay wrapped in Jake's uniform jacket. The journey back to the ship was tense. Jake kept expecting Genesis Corp security forces to appear and try to reclaim their prisoner. But the station remained silent and dead. The company had abandoned it after losing control of their experiment. On board the Liberty, Jake faced a difficult decision. He could not return Zara to her people because no one knew where they were. The crash site of her ship had been stripped clean years ago, leaving no clues about her home world. He also could not turn her over to human authorities. Genesis Corp still had powerful friends in the government who might try to continue the experiments under official oversight. Zara needed protection and time to heal from her trauma. Jake made the choice that would change both their lives forever. He declared Zara a refugee under interstellar law and granted her sanctuary aboard his ship. She would be free to go wherever she wanted when she was ready. But until then, she would be under his personal protection. The crew was divided. Some thought harboring an alien was too dangerous. Others believed it was the right thing to do. But Jake was captain and his word was final. Over the following weeks, Zara slowly began to recover from her ordeal. She learned basic human language with surprising speed, her advanced mind absorbing new concepts like a sponge. She also began to trust Jake and his crew, seeing that not all humans were like her captors. She told them about her people through gestures and simple words. The Ethereal were explorers and scientists who had spread across many star systems. They were peaceful by nature, preferring to study and learn rather than conquer. Her ship had been on a research mission when it crashed. She was the navigator and youngest member of the crew. The others had died trying to protect the ship's database from falling into the wrong hands. Jake learned that Zara powers were not weapons but tools for exploration. She could sense the emotions and thoughts of others, feel the flow of energy through space, and even glimpse possible futures. Her people used these gifts to find new worlds and understand the universe. Genesis Corp had seen only military applications for her abilities. They had tried to force her to demonstrate combat techniques that did not exist, torturing her when she could not comply. Their ignorance had caused immense suffering. As Zara grew stronger, her true nature began to emerge. She was curious about everything, asking endless questions about human culture and technology. She found their art and Music particularly fascinating, often spending hours listening to classical compositions. She also began to show Jake glimpses of what she could do when pirates attacked a merchant convoy. Zara sensed their approach long before the ship's sensors detected them. Her warning allowed the Liberty to respond quickly and save dozens of lives. During a dangerous passage through an asteroid field, Zara guided them along safe paths that no computer could.